Cause you don't know football. Reek put us together like the Avengers. For the love of the game, this ain't for the pretenders. Used to strap them up, that's why we qualify. So when I tell you you don't know, I won't apologize. It get ugly on the gridiron, and I'm tired of watching all of these analysts misfire. This raw ain't politically correct, but either way you put it, man, we blessed. Tell y'all networks they should get hip to us. Moving on to big things when they pitch to us. A hot take can make you put on the gloves, but at the end of the day, it's all love. So as you gon' bring the stats to the room, or maybe the eye test to the Zoom, just know we appreciate y'all. But cause you don't know football, cause you don't know football, cause you don't know football.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cuz You Don't Know Football. Guys, tonight we get into the Did They Get It Right off-season series. So we're going to go into a whole series of talking division for division and letting you know, did these teams get the off-season right? Or did they still got work to do and they may not know it? Either way, I got my boy Mike coming on. We're going to talk about the AFC South and the NFC South teams, and we're going to get right. You understand me? Let's get that out of here. That's not where we need to start. And while that's loading up, I just wanted to let y'all know like how excited we are. We about to whip ass this season, y'all. Because you don't know football, man. It's about to go down. It's really about to go down. You know
What's
what I'm
up, boy?
Mike, what's going on, brother? Welcome back, man. We missed you on here, bro.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine, man.
Perfect. Sounds good, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. So, man, listen, man, me and you was going back and forth, and we was talking about these South teams, man. We need to know, did they get it right? You know what I mean? So I couldn't thought anybody better to let the people know, did these South teams get it right? We're talking about the NFC South and the AFC South today. All right?
And we're starting with the two worst divisions at that, too, if you think about it.
But that's not how I see things. You see what I'm saying? You see, these divisions are on the rise. You see, every year, remember this, every year, 6 new teams make the playoffs than the year before. And the AFC South could have had 3 teams if my bum ass Colts didn't act up. We could have had 3 teams in the playoffs last year. So when you say they're the worst two, I'm not seeing it. But if you want, we can start with any team that you want to start, NFC South or
I mean, I would say let's go. You want to go NFC first?
Let's go NFC South first. We'll jump back and forth, you know what I mean, to kind of see what's what. Let's go with these NFC South teams. So, you know we're going to start? Let's start with the Atlanta Falcons. So, I'm going to tell you, we're just going to say their additions, maybe a couple subtractions, their like first 2 or 3 draft picks, and we'll get to see what's going on there. So, the Falcons, they finished 8-9 last year, right? So that was their schedule. In the draft, they did not have a first round pick. So in the second round, they got a cornerback, Avion Terrell out of Clemson, and they got Zachariah Branch, wide receiver out of Georgia. So that's what they did there. And then in terms of their subtractions, oh, 1 second. In terms of their subtractions, there we go. They lost Tyler Algier to the Cardinals. They lost Darnell Mooney to the Giants. Anything else worth talking about with them in terms of who they lost? Not.
They got a new head coach.
Oh, and they lost Kirk Cousins too. They lost Captain Kirk to the Raiders, but we saw that was going to happen.
They got a new head coach.
They got a new head coach, so we starting off there. And in terms of like who they brought in, get out of here. There we go. Sorry, I was just catching up to myself. They also signed Trevor Siemian and Tua Tagovailoa, seeing what that's going to mean to you. Brought in another running back, Brian Robinson. They brought in Jahad Dotson. So yeah, re-signed Kyle Pitts. So yeah, so what do you think? So the question basically is, did What do you think about the offseason for the Atlanta Falcons?
I honestly bringing in an offensive minded head coach, and I actually a lot of people don't like him as a head coach, but I think he is a good head coach for this team. Um, Now it's a bad. Honestly, it's not the best division. But I mean, having and we're talking about the Falcons, correct?
We're talking
Yeah.
about the Atlanta Falcons.
And with having the best one of or the best running back in the league, Bijan Robinson. But the thing is, they really don't have a passing game. And did they really get their needs in the draft? I mean, because I think they will be the team that ends up, even they brought in a big name head coach. At the end of the day, I really don't think they did anything special. Tua is not going to do anything. Um, you know, honestly, beside Bijan, Pitts had a great season last year, but they're, um, I, I, I don't know. I really don't
Okay.
like anything he did.
So for me, with the whole Kyle Pitts thing, that was a great little segment for me to jump in there. I didn't like the pick of Kyle Pitts, even when they drafted him in the first place. I don't if I want a tight end, I want a tight end that can block. And I want to know that if I'm building around a tight end, that I'm not getting a glorified wide receiver who just isn't talented enough to be a wide receiver. So we can
Exactly.
start there. Now, in terms of bringing in Tua and Trevor Siemian for quarterbacks, I think that signals that they don't have belief or real belief in Michael Penix Jr. as their quarterback going forward, which
Exactly.
gives me a lot of pause about what they're going to be. Um, I'm thinking they're closer to a rebuild than taking steps forward. So they were 8 and 9 last year.
Yes.
This might be a 6-win team, if that.
If that and I would say their main three things on their offseason checklist would be name of who their quarterback's going to be, Tua or Michael Penix Jr. Are they going to extend the wide receiver Drake London, and then determine if they're going to with James Pierce Jr. through 2026?
Hmm. So yeah, they definitely got a lot of work to do on a team that was relative. When they have bright spots, I mean, they got Bijan Robinson. He's probably the best running back in the NFL. But
And that's why I brought him up. When you think the Atlanta Falcons, the first player that comes to my mind is Bijan.
yeah, it's just sad that it's not too much more
They
outside
don't have
of
that.
that.
If you remember from last season, they had that 1-2 punch. Bijan get the pass down to run the field. He ran the ball, and then you hand it off to Tyler Algier, bang. You know what I mean? And well, they don't have that. They don't have. They who was the running back they brought in? You said
Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson. Okay, from Washington that went to San Fran, and then now he's on the Falcons.
Correct. So we'll see. We'll see about them. So staying in the NFC South, let's move on to our next team. Let's kind of just move up generally speaking, how they got better. So next up, of course, New Orleans Saints.
Who?
The New Orleans Saints.
I thought we were gonna go with the Pan. I thought you said who
They were in the playoffs. They were in the playoffs.
All right. I thought you said who got better. Sorry, who got.
No, I just said how they finished last year. Like, let's move up.
I got you.
So the Saints were 6-11 last year. Let's see who they got. They brought in Zach Wilson. They brought in Travis Etienne. They brought in tight end Noah Fant. Oh, they brought in Tyree Wilson, the edge from the Raiders drafted a couple years ago. So they brought him in as well. So it's not really too much more worth talking about there in terms of who they lost. Did they lose anything worth talking about? They lost DeMario Davis to the Jets. They really didn't lose too much, I would say. But in their draft, let's get to their saying. So in their draft, what are you doing here? Thank you. In their draft, their first round pick, they got Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State. In the second round, they got Christian Miller, defensive tackle from Georgia. In the third round, they got Oscar Dope, tight end from Georgia as well. And they got a guard and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, New Orleans Saints, what do we think?
Well, I love the addition of the running back, but now what do you do with Alvin Kamara's situation? You got to figure that out. Do you re-sign Cam Jordan? And they didn't add a slot cornerback, which they really needed in the draft. So did they really address their needs as well?
So, this is still a team that's building back up. I think last year they were so far, even with 6 wins, they were so far ahead of schedule. Like no one even really thought. Like they won like the last 4 games to close out the season, if I'm not mistaken. They improved throughout the year. So even how they ended, I'm actually a little bit more excited about where they're going. Even though I would agree with you, I don't think that they filled all of the places that they probably should have to contend, but I don't think they're going to contend. I don't think that's what we're talking about with them. Now, the question that we need to have is Tyler Shaw. Is he going to be better this year? Or is he going to end up being like, was that just a flash in the plan and it's not something that we're going to keep seeing going forward? I'm a little bit more optimistic. I was pretty impressed. With the young man, and I want to see what he does going into the season. Now, if he's good, I think you can look at them and see a 8-win team. If he's bad, I think they'll still be somewhere around that 6-win range.
He did prove a lot of people wrong. I will agree with that.
It's not one thing that they didn't do. They pushed Tyler Shaw out there, and he was like, "Oh, I can prove people wrong with how good he is." That happened.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. But at the end of the day, now that they have 2 running backs, Travis Etienne Jr., what do you think about that pickup?
I think what are you talking about with Alvin Kamara?
Yeah.
So with Alvin Kamara, running backs when they get older, man, it's over for them. You know what I mean? So I think them having a running back room, they're looking at this. They have now probably like 3 running backs that they can kind of go to, and I think they're looking at this saying, "Let me take the pressure off of Tyler Shaw, and let me run the ball. Let's help our defense out," which I think is a very smart. Kellen Moore has done a great job coaching this team. And I was on record saying I would, and this is just me talking, I didn't want any black head coach to take this job because I said no one's going to be able to like really move this along. And Kellen Moore did a phenomenal job. I can't keep.
He did. He did the best he could. I'll give him that. So the running back depth chart is looking like for the Saints. They have now.
They have Alvin Kamara. They have Alvin Kamara. They have they have Travis Etienne.
That's who I was. Okay, we're bringing Travis in. Jacksonville losing him, and we'll get to that. Obviously, that's what I meant. Like, are they going to that? That's like 2 number 1 run. And I get he's getting older, Alvin Kamara. I think it was more of a payday for Travis Etienne Jr. more than, okay, let me go to a team that's contending. Would you agree on that?
Well, he's from New Orleans, so I think he was thinking about this going back home and playing and trying to rebuild the Saints again, like they did after Katrina when they built that team that won the Super Bowl.
I got you. But they don't have the receivers really. The defense, Cam Jordan's getting older. They didn't address the slot. What they were getting crushed on is on the deep ball, and it was the safety coming in and a lot of plays. What I noticed, what I was watching a little tape on the Saints, is that they didn't bring in the slot. They didn't address that one need, and I don't get that point.
Well, I mean, they still had time to, and I don't know if you were listening, but the Indianapolis Colts just released Kenny Moore, who is a slot.
Yeah, I did see that. I did.
So the opportunity is still there to hit it. So maybe they grab him. Maybe we have more conversations about what the Saints did.
There you go. And then that's what I'm saying. And then the only other thing would be, okay, so they have the running backs, they're receiving wise. I could see the Saints and basically the Falcons like pushing each other because that like if you remember last year that division was so stacked up. The Bucks were here and the Bucks beat the Panthers, but it was the Bucks and the Panthers had the tiebreaker and almost beat the Rams in the playoffs, the first round wild card.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they go in two different directions. To be honest with you, I think the Saints are a vastly better ran organization right now than the Atlanta Falcons. However,
No, I hear. Saying
so
they're both low key mid. They're not like they're just both kind of rebuild. Like one has two quarterback, neither one has they're relying on running game. Neither Drake London is a great receiver, don't get it wrong, but they really bringing in a head coach with a big name. It's kind of their neither one I believe are going to go anywhere. And when we get the other two teams that we'll talk about, we'll get to that.
of course, good take. All right, well, let's talk about the first loser of the NFC South. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers finally lost that division after they won the last 3 years consecutively.
Yep.
Let's see what happened. So they brought in a backup quarterback, Jake Browning. They brought in running back Kenneth Gainwell, which I'm going to bring up a big point about that. Brought another wide receiver, David Stills. Re-signed Cade Otton. Anything else worth talking about? Not really. But they did lose somebody. They lost Rachaad White to the Commanders. Mike Evans has departed.
Kind of huge for them, actually.
Let's see. This is
one.
so yeah. So not really much more worth talking about there, but their draft picks. They drafted edge from Miami, Ruben Bain Jr.
That was a great pickup. That was a great pickup because they got him later in the draft, and a lot of teams. He's from Miami, correct? And a lot of teams passed on him.
Correct. So they got Ruben Bain Jr. They got in the second round. They got Josiah Trotter, linebacker from Missouri. In the third round, they got Ted Hurst, a wide receiver from Georgia State.
Yep.
So the question basically is once again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, did they do it right this offseason?
All right. So my checklist was Baker Mayfield's extension, number one. He's about to get an extension. So will the Bucks extend him and will they pay him? Because he did take a pay cut, if you remember last year or the year before. Was it the year before?
Who are you talking about?
Baker Mayfield.
Did he take a pay cut? I'm not sure he ever took a pay cut. Like this was like an opportunity for him to show that he was like.
Yeah, I mean, he can get paid as much as what he played for when the way he was playing.
I'll look up Baker Mayfield's contract while you keep talking.
Okay, so while you're looking up his what he gets paid, I know it's not a lot. He's on an extension, so that's one thing to look out for. And what they didn't do in the draft is they didn't figure out a cornerback situation and also a tight end situation. You read off the drafts and they didn't address the tight end position. And I love Mike Evans left.
Mm-hmm.
I love like how do you say it? Obaka?
Which way you talking?
The wide receiver for the Bucks.
Oh, Mbuka.
Mbuka. Oh yeah, he's going to be their number one now. But you lose Mike Evans.
I didn't know who you were talking about. I said Obaka.
I always say his name wrong. I'm more of an NBA guy, and you know that.
Got you.
I'll come over and my knowledge in NFL is okay. You know what I'm saying. But it's EG. You know who I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, basically lose one, their old number one, and then he rises as a rookie last year, and he was a game changer while Mike Evans was out.
Okay, and just to let you know, Baker Mayfield, he's coming into his final year of a 3-year, $100 million contract. So he was getting about $30 million a year. Yes, that is a little bit less than what the top quarterbacks are making. They're making closer to about like 40, 45 million. So he was making about 30 million. So yeah, that was a pay cut. Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. See, so that's what he's on an extension year, and now they're gonna have to pay him, and so it's just yeah, that's what I think that's a huge thing. They didn't get a tight end, they didn't get another receiver. It's just I just think this division, man. I know you might think it's on a rise, but it's really rebuild, rebuild. The first two teams we talked about, rebuild, rebuild, and then this team, the Bucks. Todd Bowles has to be on the hot seat, right?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, they overexceeded. Dang, man, he overexceeded like the last 3 years. Like no one thought that they were going to make the playoffs, and they make the playoffs every year. I mean, yeah, they were 8-9. They tied for the best record, and then they just didn't have the tiebreakers to keep going. I don't think Todd Bowles should be on the hot seat. But what I will tell you about this team is I love the fact that they got I love the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got Reuben Bain Jr. So there was a point where the Baltimore Ravens could have gotten him, and they passed on him, and I was like, "What is this going on?" So the fact that they got Reuben Bain Jr., I think
at that spot,
even though you're right that they lost a lot of pieces, that is the building block that you need. I think this is going to be a perennial. Hold on 1 second. I think he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler. I think he's going to be a game changer. I hear stories about like dealing in for Miami, dealing with the fact that they had two pass rushers that were that kind of good in the same room. Man, I can't wait to see him in Tampa Bay, man. So whatever the step back is, I don't know if that means that they make the playoffs this year. I don't know if that means that they get better than 8-9. I'm not sure, but they picked the thing that they needed to pick for the future. Absolutely.
no, I'm with you 100%. I think they nailed that number. I think they was given an A. I would give it an A as well. And I was just saying the way that I chopped up the wide receiver's name.
It's all good. I think he understands. You know what I mean? Like I got Tariq is a difficult name myself too. So we got these difficult names.
He's a rookie, and he came out of nowhere and he just crushed it last season. And I think that with they have Baker, and I think with him but they don't have a tight end, and like I said, they don't have a corner. So it's a lot of defense for the Saints. It's a lot of defense for the Bucks. But the Bucks did they went with the best guy on the board. And I think that was like you said, he's going to be a game changer. I agree with you 100%.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. We'll have to keep hearing about these Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right. So for the winners of the NFC South, the Carolina Panthers winning the division for the first time since Cam Newton was quarterback. Yep. Shout out to them. With their offseason, they brought in some backups. They brought in Kenny Pickett and Will Grier. They signed AJ Dillon, also in the running back room. They brought in John Mechie III for a wide receiver. Did they have anything else worth really, really, really tough? Oh, one of the most underrated signings to me, Jalen Phillips. They signed the edge rusher. They also signed him, and they signed Devin Lloyd out of Jacksonville. And they also signed Isaiah Simmons, who people consider to be a quote unquote bust. He was drafted to the Arizona Cardinals out of Clemson. So let's look at their draft. In their draft, in the first round, they got Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle from Georgia. In the second round, we got Lee Hunter, defensive tackle from Texas Tech. And in the third round, they got Chris Brazel, wide receiver out of Tennessee. And let's see what they lost. What they lost out on. They lost running back Rico Dow to the Steelers. They lost. No, that's pretty much the biggest name that they lost. So, Carolina Panthers. They running it back as NFC South champions.
All right. First off, I love how Bryce Young made an impact, and he's also on his 5th year, so he's basically on an extend deal. So are they going to extend Bryce Young? Because the season he had last year in the fourth quarter, I think it might have been the second highest with points scored, like comeback leads. And then also, what are they going to do when they obviously, if they're getting an offensive lineman in the first round in the draft, they're looking at Bryce Young as, wait, this might be our quarterback. And then the pecking order in their wide receivers, because they have so many. We know Tet's gonna be number one, right? But then there's guys that could be number 2, 3, and flip-flop around.
Okay. So I think I'm calling it right now. The Carolina Panthers are gonna repeat as NFC South champions. I absolutely love what they did in this offseason. Now,
So
Jalen Phillips is the X factor here because when he's not injured, he played even last year with Philly. He came in, made a huge impact right away, changed their 4-man front, and it was great. Got injured. So if Jalen Phillips is not going to be injured, then filling in Devin Lloyd, who's one of the premier linebackers, with those cornerbacks. Do you remember when they played the Rams last year? Those cornerbacks were giving Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams fits. Okay, they changed the game and how that looked. Okay, so with that defense and how it was, them bringing in, they still got Chuba Hubbard. You know what I mean? Bringing in all these people, Bryce Young, hopefully taking another step. I mean, I loved Teteroa McMillan, the rookie wide receiver last year. He's gonna be in his second year. This might be crazy. Listen, the Carolina Panthers might be a sleeper team, and I gotta see how they gel this offseason. This team.
I'm with you. Listen, I'm with you 100%. I love what they did in the draft. Now, do you agree with me that they have to figure out the wide receiver core? Like, they have Tet McMillan, Jalen Cooker, Xavier Legette, Chris Bizarre II they brought in, Jimmy Horn Jr. So is Xavier Legette going to make that step, or is the rookie going to jump over him? Because at the end of the season, Jalen Cooker made a huge jump. And him and Bryce had a connection. Obviously, Tet McMillan, he was phenomenal. I mean, at the end of the year. So we're talking about the Panthers, and I think right now with everything in that division, it's the Panthers and the Bucks. That's me.
The Panthers and the Bucks. See, I think the Panthers have a gap between them and anybody else in that division right now.
How big of a gap?
Like, I think they could be a 10-win team, and they were 8-9 last year, and I think they're 2 games better.
So, okay. So who wins the NFC South division?
I told you, I think they're gonna repeat. We just gotta see where Bryce Young, where he go. Did he take the step, or was that not really giving what we can expect? But man, I was so impressed with them when they were even in a loss to the Rams in the playoffs. I was so it looked like they were about to beat the Rams. Okay, so I was so impressed with that team. So them having that kind of momentum and stuff like that, having the urgency to put players in key positions where they know we didn't have enough juice right there. So they put like difference makers there. Like, I'm so impressed with the Carolina Panthers.
I am too, man. And that's the team I was most excited to talk about compared to the other 3 teams, compared to the Saints, the Falcons. I think Kevin Stefanski is going to be with the Falcons. I think they're going to be in the basement. The Saints are going to be in the basement. They're rebuilding. I think the Bucs will be mid-tier. And then I agree with you. I'm going to go on record and say the Panthers as well.
And this is for the first time. There's no knock on the NFC South as a division. It's just me saying I see it. You understand where we come from?
Division, man. I mean, it's just a wild division,
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're gonna now take this time and go over to the AFC South. You see what I'm saying? I'll let you listen, Mike. I brought you on here to talk about my division and what goes on in my division. You see? You see what I'm saying? That's why you hear you talk about the worst team. Have you not seen these teams? Even just in the NFC South, are you not seeing that these teams might be in the improvement phase? Like,
No, I agree. I agree. It's a great division on both sides to start off on. I was just joking because I know it's your Colts. So
all right, too. All right. So going over to the NFC South. I mean the AFC South. You see, that's my core. That's what I'm what's the word I'm looking for? What do you call the person that reads like an illustrator when they read something out loud, like a story?
and they say the opposite. Yeah. I know you're talking about.
That's my voice when I put that on. You see, now we're bouncing back over this way. You see how pleasant that could be? I can sound pleasant too.
Who do you want to start with in the AFC South?
Oh, we're definitely starting at the bottom there with I already know where we're going with that. That's gonna be the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
How much time do we have here? All right. So we got about 10 minutes, and then we're going to take a 5-minute. All right,
You got it.
minute. All right, the Tennessee Titans. Let's see who they picked up. Oh, first of all, they were.
TATE.
I think they were. Yeah, they went 3-14 last year. Rough year to be a Titans fan. So they brought in. This is why I always love the offseason. Hendon Hooker. You remember Hendon Hooker? I loved him coming out of Tennessee. I ain't heard one word from him. He got drafted to the Lions, and now he's on. I thought he was going to replace Jared Goff. Never heard from him again. They brought in Michael Carter, running back. They brought in Wan'Dale Robinson from the Giants, wide receiver. Let's see. Who else did they get? They didn't sound a lot of people, but I think these are more or less, just signings. I thought it was somebody else that they got. Either way, that's good enough for me. Let's see who they lost.
I know.
They lost Van Jefferson to the Commanders, wide receiver. They lost the tight end. I never could pronounce his name, but I'm gonna call him Chizzy Nkonwu. He was a pretty decent tight end. He lost him to the Commanders. They lost they got Arden Key. He was a guy that they also lost. And that's pretty much that. Now let's look at some draft picks. Tennessee Titans. Number 1 pick, they got Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Also in the first round, because they had 2 first-round picks. They got Keldrick Falk, edge rusher from Auburn. And then in the second round, they got Anthony Hill, linebacker from Texas. And yeah, man, Tennessee Titans coming back into this year. What we thinking about them? They gonna win the AFC South?
Absolutely not.
The
thing is, I love their draft pick. Obviously, getting Tate, he's the best wide receiver in the draft. Now with Brian Doorbell's offense, is Cam Ward going to improve? That's the thing. You got Tony Pollard, you got Tate, and then they solidified their interior O-line. So they basically are all in right now with Cam Ward. So they have their O-line. They brought in Brian Doorbell for the, and then I love they got the best receiver in the draft. So if Cam Ward can't get it to him, then I don't know. It's not going to work.
Okay. So, first of all, I absolutely love Cam Ward. I actually looked at a couple games of him. It's hard to look at a team that's only going to win 3 games and then you not be interested in them and still catch it. So it's hard to be like, I'm going to really observe Cam Ward on the Titans. But I did. I actually really liked what I saw. I thought under duress, making plays and stuff like that, he thought he was still very accurate. He made plays. He showed to be somewhat of a playmaker. Let me say that. It's a shame that they are still not going to have an offensive line for him to really digest the defense, which I think the problem is. But I want to say for the Tennessee Titans, man, I absolutely hated their draft, bro. I thought this might be the worst draft out of everybody. First of all, Carnell Tate. Now you said he was the best. Now when I looked at other podcasts of guys that basically
Wide receiver, not the best in the draft. I'm saying
wide
that's
receiver, yeah, I said what I said. I look at like other people who all they do is look at college talent and how it's going to translate to the pros. They had him as like the fourth best wide receiver.
well.
In a draft that had a lot of other positions of
I
real.
like Casey Concepcion. I like him.
Right. But in the draft where they could have gotten a edge rusher or something of an impact position, and they could have went and got like 2 or 3 wide receivers later on in the draft. Hold on 1 second. They could have got 2 or 3 wide receivers later on in the draft. They
Like
the
who?
guy that was like the 4th best wide receiver according to other sources.
Like who?
Also, so when they finally get a pass rusher, Keldrick Falk, he's with the 31st pick. You know, it really grinds my gears. When you don't get a pass in certain positions, you have to get them in the first 5 picks, or they're all developmental. So
Look at
hold on. So getting a pass rusher late in the first round, if he wasn't good enough to go in the top 5, let me tell you something. He's not exceptional at it. Which means, but you're gonna look at whoever's on that defensive end and say, I want 10 sacks from that person. And they usually can't provide it unless they're in the top 5 picks. So if you look at it somebody and say, would you draft them in the top 5 picks? If that answer is no, you need to let them slide way down the draft and go after other positions of need. I understand that they checked the boxes. They checked the boxes at the wrong times. So whoever the GM is and what they're doing, I'm sorry, you're fucking up Cam Ward's career right now. And I do not like what y'all did with the offensive line. I don't like what y'all did for his weapons because he's got the wrong weapons. And you're also not going to have a pass rusher, and you think that you've got one.
But
now you can go.
Okay. All I'm going to say is, who could they have got? Okay, say they went and got with that pick. They got Reeks, right? The edge out of Ohio State instead, which they could have probably got. But Lemon was gone. Casey was gone. Who could they?
Lemons wasn't gone.
Who's Cam Ward passing to?
But like none of those people were gone. They had the number 4 pick.
Lemon, yeah, and they took. No, they didn't have the number 1. The
number 4 pick.
Number 4, yeah. I'm saying, and they could have got an edge, or they could have got the safety that Dallas got, but they didn't. They went and got the best receiver that was in, because the Eagles moved up to get Lemon. The Browns got Casey Constant, and then the guy out of Louisville. So at the end of the day, you got at least the second or first best. Who are you saying that's better than Pete?
I'm gonna give you this. He wasn't even the best wide receiver on his own team in college. Okay. So when you're talking about a guy who benefited from having, I'm talking about a guy who benefited from having a guy on the other side. I'm talking about game, bro. I'm not saying is he not going to be a good player, sure, but you don't draft good players with the number 4 overall pick. You draft stars.
But they needed Cam Ward, somebody like at the end of the day. And I think that I totally understand, and I get what you're saying. They should have went with the defensive side and got the best defensive player on the board, and this, that, and the other, right? But I think what they were looking at as, we need someone for Cam Ward to throw the ball to, and they thought that Tate was the best player. And with my eyes watching football on Ohio State, I thought Tate was the best. I mean, there was a couple guys. I didn't think Lemon from USC was. I didn't think Casey Concepcion from Texas Tech was. There could have been a lot of guys that – there was a lot of good receivers in this draft. There was a kid from Louisville. But I think the eye test is that Tate was just a little above a lot of these other receivers.
I don't think he was like I said, he wasn't even the best wide receiver. You don't pick a guy who wasn't the best guy on his own team at the position.
Who was the number
top
1?
five picks?
I got
the top 5 picks.
He was Jeremiah Love went in the top five.
You talking about Jeremiah Smith? You talking about the other wide receiver?
Sure, Jeremiah Love from the running back from Notre Dame. He went in the first
Oh yes. Okay.
that was a is he the best running back in the draft? Yeah, but I mean, did they need to do that? No.
We'll see, man. We'll see. We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one. But let's take
Yeah, I
5 real
know.
quick. Hold on, because this is about to cut off. So let's take 5 real quick. We'll finish off the rest of the AFC South.
Got 3 more teams. We got your Colts, the Jags, and
Texans.
you got it.
5. We'll be back.
All right, all good. You can hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we're gonna get back into it. We're gonna get back into this.
Oh, we forgot one thing. We forgot. Robert Sal took over.
Robert Saleh is there. Yeah, and actually, the Giants head coach is the offensive coordinator now. Brian Daboll.
Brian, yeah, that's what I was saying. That with Cam Ward, is it going to work with Brian Doorbell? Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. I still don't like their draft.
Yeah, no.
Either way. So now it's time to talk about the best team in the NFL, the Indianapolis Colts. Duh. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what we here to talk about.
If it ain't the Colts, it's nothing.
You see, I couldn't have said this is why you here, Mike. You see what I'm saying?
I
So
got your back.
let's start talking about some people that we lost. Of course, Uncle Phil retired again. What a run! What a crazy little run that was. But we traded Michael Pittman Jr. to the Steelers. We lost our offensive tackle Braden Smith to the Texans.
I don't like that move, the Michael Pittman.
We'll talk about that. We lost our guard Danny Pinter to the Ravens. Samson Ebukam, who never really was that good for us. He's at the Falcons. We lost Kwity Paye to the Raiders. And we traded Zaire Franklin to the Packers also. So who do we get? Oh, by the way, we finished last year 8-9. Let's see. Who did we gain? We re-signed Daniel Jones and we re-signed Alec Pierce.
What about Kenny Moore situation?
What'd you say?
The cornerback Kenny Moore situation?
Oh yeah, we released Kenny Moore as well. We signed edge Arden Key. And we also with the trade with the Packers, we got Derek Nandi, the defensive tackle.
They needed a pass rusher.
We also signed safety Jonathan Owens, and we signed Cam Taylor-Britt also. So that's probably why we were just able to release him, because we signed Cam Taylor-Britt, who was the cornerback for the Bengals when they had their success with Lou Anarumo.
Yeah.
So let's look at our draft. We did not have a first round pick, but we got in the second round we got linebacker CJ Allen from Georgia.
I like that.
Third round we got AJ Halsey, safety from LSU. And in the fourth round we got Jalen Farmer, guard from Kentucky. What do you think about the Colts draft?
So I liked how they went defense because they have Jonathan Taylor. The thing is, they added pass rushing, and that's what they needed. Would you agree on that? They needed some.
Absolutely.
They needed a pass rushing, right? So that's a good thing. They added the pass rush. That's number one. The cornerback Kenny Moore situation, it is what it is. And then the other thing that I was thinking about is they got to figure out the Anthony Richardson situation. They have to figure something out with that. Sooner or later. Like, when are they gonna, say, okay, enough's enough, we got to let him go, or hey, are we gonna play him? What, that they have to figure out the Anthony Richardson situation. I would say they're the main 3 opponents. Anthony, the Kenny Moore, and then how they added pass rush was great because and losing Michael Pittman Jr. What I mean, are they that like? hyped on Pierce. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. The answer's kind of yeah.
I know, but I'll let you speak more because it's your Colts.
Okay. So, this all season to me, in terms of who we moved off of, it shows a lot of. Chris Ballard has done a lot of great things as GM for the Colts. A lot of things that he's done good has been later in the rounds, like his ability to get like 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks to turn into like solid starters is amazing, you know. But looking at also who we're releasing and who we're moving off of are a lot of his 1st and 2nd round picks, you know. And I'm like, I don't know how you were so bad at like 1st round picks and you're so good at a 5th round pick. But that kind of shows you Chris Ballard and the dichotomy that is him. In terms of Anthony Richardson, I'm cool with him staying. I'm cool with him leaving because he's the backup. You know what I mean? I would like to have insurance that if Daniel Jones isn't 100% to start the year, that we have somebody there. Like, I don't hate Anthony Richardson. I don't think that he is like trash. Did I ever think he was worth the number 4 overall pick? No, because he was developmental. You know, he had so many things he had to work on. You know, and just to let you know, anytime they're bringing up a quarterback's vertical leap, that's usually a signal that their passing ability is not what they're trying to talk about here. It should let you know they're not really good at passing. Just for everybody to know. Um, so yeah, so we move off a lot of people. I'm not mad that we moved off of Michael Pittman Jr. He's not a number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. I would like to see us replace with like a more downfield guy because I definitely feel as though Tyler Warren is going to be the vocal point of this offense.
Fair enough.
With him and Josh Downs really taking advantage of the intermediate stuff. I like Alec Pierce stretching the field. I would like to see somebody else stretch the field for us. Jonathan Taylor running the ball. So those kind of things I really would like to see. Still waiting to see Laiatu Latu break out. You know what I mean? This is another one of them 1st round picks that's like we need to see something from him. But I do like the middle linebacker from Georgia. He's faster. Covered.
I think that was a great pickup. They needed a pass rusher and they got it.
Yeah, but like, and also I'm waiting to see Sauce Gardner do his thing as a Colt as well. So, but between Justin Wally, Sauce Gardner, Charcharius Ward, and Cam Taylor-Britt, I feel very good. I feel good about our DB situation. I just really want to see an improvement on pass rush, which I'm not sure that we have. And more of a focal point being Tyler and Jonathan Taylor on the offensive end. And if those 2 things go, I think we can at least make a playoff push. But there's just always been so many ifs with the Colts, and that's always gotten on my nerves.
There has been. It's always been if this, if that. You know, with Wentz the year when all they had to do was beat the Jacksonville Jags, and what did he do? He ran out of bounds in the end zone. Like it's always something with the Colts every year. And I'm glad you brought up Sauce Gardner. Will he have a better or worse year? That's the question.
He better have a better year, okay? Sauce Gardner better play his ass off this year, okay? All these 1st round picks we done gave off to get him here, and all the money we paid him to get him here. He better ball the fuck out, all right? I don't want to hear nothing about that.
At one point it was like Sauce is that guy. Sauce is the best, one of the best corners in the league. Now it's like, you know, and the quarterback position. Who's going to be your quarterback? Who's going to start week 1 for the Colts?
Like I said, if he's healthy and ready to go, Daniel Jones is the guy. Okay.
I agree with that. Now let's talk about the real best team in the NFC. The AFC South.
Well, I was about to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm messing with you, man.
So you are talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. So, looking at Jacksonville, some players that they lost, of course, we've talked about him earlier. Travis Etienne, They lost wide receiver Devontae Brown to the Commanders. They lost. Did there anything else worth? Oh yeah, Devin Lloyd, of course, to the Panthers. They also lost Greg Newsome to the Giants.
Losing Travis Etienne Jr. is huge.
Okay. Well, let's see who they signed. Did they sign anybody? Actually, I didn't look too much into them. Did they sign anybody worth talking about? Looks like their biggest signing is Amir Abdullah, running back, and he's not a big running back name.
Well, in the draft, did they add a running back?
We're getting over there. And in the draft, they also did not have a first round pick. In the second round, they had Nate Berkshire, tight end out of Texas A&M. In the third round, they had defensive tackle Albert Regis out of Texas A&M. Then they got a guard from Oregon, Emmanuel Prankton. No, they did not draft a running back. To answer your question.
They didn't add a running back. 1, 2. They did get a running back, but they didn't get Travis, and they don't have Travis Etienne Jr. And then another thing is adding a pass rusher to the team. They did that in a way. And then they need to kind of figure out what they want to do with Travis Hunter. Do they want to make him a complete cornerback, or do they want to make him a wide receiver and a corner? It's like pick and choose. Don't make him strictly a corner. Don't make him strictly a wide receiver corner. It's either one or the other, or it's too much for the kid. I just feel that way.
So I actually made a little mistake. The Jacksonville Jaguars actually won the AFC South last year. I forgot all about. I assumed.
No, that's why I said the best team. I was kidding.
So they actually did win it. They got 13-4. They were 13-4 last year. So
they got Jacoby Myers at the trade deadline. That was huge. So they had Bryant, and then as soon as that, they got Thomas Jr. back, and they have Brenton Strange at tight end. Dude, they had a stacked squad. They had who was the third receiver outside of two of the number one receivers? They had
Parker Washington.
Yeah, Parker Washington stepped up, and then Brenton Strange got hurt, and he stepped up. And Travis Etienne Jr., the defense was good. Trevor Lawrence, he got a haircut.
He
see
should.
it?
He sure did.
He doesn't look like I don't know what you want to say. They called him the Prince, but he did get a haircut.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, I've never really been able to put my finger on exactly how I feel about them.
I had them beating the Bills, believe it or not.
You say you had them beating the Bills?
Yeah, in that wild card round, they had a chance. I mean, I liked Jacksonville a lot last year. I was really their defense was legit. They had a quarterback. They had a running back. They had a tight end. They had 3 wide receivers. They had it all together. But Josh Allen, Superman, beat them.
Yeah, I didn't have that at all.
It was a close game.
The problem is Trevor Lawrence always has a ceiling, and he's got to break through that ceiling. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he didn't live up to. No, I'm saying he has not lived up to what people thought he was going to be coming out of Clemson. But that doesn't mean he's been a bad quarterback, but he hasn't been really like a top 10 quarterback.
I think last year he made a step forward to the top 15. He's not a top 10. No, I agree with you. But when you have Brian Thomas Jr. and then you make a trade at the trade deadline and you get another number 1 receiver from the Raiders, and then Parker Washington steps up, and then your tight end steps up, and your running game's going wild, and then the defense too. I think it's just all around. The Jags look good on paper, and I was just like, wow. And then when they won the division and moved on and played the Bills, I thought they had a chance.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, Trevor Lawrence can't be a top 15 quarterback for this roster to really be scary. But because they have a lot of talent, like their pass rushers, they have 2 legitimate pass rushers in Josh Hines-Allen and Trevon Walker. Defense is pretty good. Travis Hunter he is an enigma. I think he needs to pick a side of the ball too. I just never so somebody else. excuse me, somebody else made a good point about him. It's not that he isn't like highly talented or talented enough to play both sides of the ball.
You don't need him
It's that in any situation that anybody ever has, if you've looked at anybody who has played offense and defense, those people, he was not more athletic than. So so for anybody that had a package on offense, and usually those guys had packages, not like playing even 30% of the time. They played sometimes. So those names being Deion Sanders, Champ Bailey, Charles Woodson, they had packages. They didn't have, primarily, 100% offense, 100% defense. How that's going to work out. But I am glad because they're in division that they don't know how that's going to work out, and it's probably not going to work out great.
To go back on that, it was Deion Sanders was playing baseball and football. So he was able to play cornerback and wide receiver. He was that guy. And I'm not going to ever compare Travis Hunter to Deion Sanders because Deion Sanders might be one of the best corners is the best corner to ever play the game.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. It's not worth. It's not. Easy argument to make.
I like Chuck too, but he wasn't no Deion, and I like Champ Bailey, but he was no Deion either. Ed Reed, best safety, and Deion Sanders, the best corner.
Okay. All right, cool. So, going with who came in second place in the AFC South, who I thought won the AFC South, the Houston Texans. So, what did Houston do this offseason? First of all, they brought in running back David Montgomery from the Detroit Lions.
Love it.
They re-signed Dalton Schultz. They got an offensive tackle, Braid Smith, from the Colts. Re-signed both of their pass rushers, which was a great deal. Re-signed both of their linebackers. They also got Reed Blankenship from the Eagles, the safety.
Yeah, I think they did a lot.
All right, let's see who they lost. They lost Christian Kirk to the 49ers. They lost their offensive tackle. They traded him to the Browns, so they replaced that guy. Did they lose anything? No, nothing worth talking about in terms of them losing, really. I'm gonna be honest with you. And with their draft, the first round they picked Keelan Rutledge, offensive guard from Georgia Tech. And the second round they got Caden McDonald, defensive tackle, Ohio State.
Yep.
And they had 2 second-round picks. They had Marlon Klein, tight end from Michigan. And they got another guard also later in the draft. So tell me about these Houston Texans. Why don't you, sir?
All right. Well, one, the head coach is, remind me again.
About Denico Autry. Kind of the middle. You caught me off guard with that one. Keep going. I can tell you his name. Keep going.
He's not used to losing with CJ Stroud. So I would say, and I didn't mean to throw you off guard like that, but the reason why I brought
D'Amico Ryans. I was on Denico Autry. D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, okay. So him and CJ Stroud are not used to losing together, right? So the first thing they need to do is extend CJ Stroud, whether he had a bad year, good year, or indifferent, whatever, because he's coming up on that. So that's the first thing they need to do. That's number one on my checklist with the Houston Texans. Number two, with the rookies, Rutledge and McDonald, they need to get them ready to start. One on the offensive line, one on the defense. They need to get them ready to start. And then last but not least, they need to monitor Tank Dell's health. I would say those are the 3 main checklists that the Houston Texans need to do to get the season started. And what I think in all season, I think they did well in the first round, getting an offensive line, getting someone on the O-line, and then getting someone on defense. And like I said, they need to get them ready right away. and then they need to focus on is Tank Dell and what his health is, and then extend CJ Stroud for the future. He's their future.
So kind of not happy to say because they're my division rival, but this was my favorite defense to watch last year. You know, the Houston Texans defense was us. Wow, you know, like they were running, they hit, they were nasty, they was knocking people out, they was getting sacks, they were causing fear.
They were causing chaos all over, and they just
Um,
didn't pay somebody recently like huge money.
They've resigned both their defensive ends for big money.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
They
that's
got
what
two. They got two great ones there. You know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely. So
that's what I thought was go. I didn't mean to cut it. That's what I thought. When Jacksonville, I thought the Houston Texans like were going to do something because of their defense strictly, but it was CJ Stroud. How many interceptions?
I was just about to get to that. So
I'll let you
CJ Stroud had the worst playoffs I maybe have ever seen. Like even when they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, half of the guys that weren't there in the divisional round when they lost to the Patriots, weren't there because CJ Stroud was basically throwing hospital balls. What a hospital ball is, he's throwing the ball, and now he's putting you in position where you're gonna go like this, and somebody's gonna put their helmet right all up in here, and you're going to the hospital. Concussions. I didn't know what he was going on, and had he not thrown like 4 interceptions against the Patriots, they probably move on then too. So this is all his fault. You know what I mean? And when I look at it like that, you've now got to look at the Houston Texans in terms of them taking the next step and say, all right, we got to take the ball out of CJ's hands. We got to allow him to not make as many decisions. You know what I mean? Like in his rookie year, he completely exceeded expectations. I'm like, I didn't think he was going to be good at all, to be honest with you, coming out of Ohio State. And then he's fantastic. And then the next 2 years, he's below average. You know, he's average to below average. So we got to see that. So looking at their offensive line, I think they checked the boxes, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
with great, so they check the boxes on what is supposed to be there. Is it all going to work out? I don't know. And that's the hard thing about the draft. This is also why I get annoyed with mock drafts. You're trying to tell me that you know where 7 rounds of people are going to go. First of all, you're going to be wrong by pick 5, okay? And with that said, how are you going to tell me how good a player is and if a team did what they were supposed to do just because they drafted who they drafted and where they drafted? I don't know right now with the Houston Texans. Can they do that? But I will say this. I love that they got David Montgomery and they have Woody Marks, who had a very good rookie year. I would like to see them go more towards running the ball more.
Yeah, they have.
If they make that adjustment, I think that will give CJ Stroud time in a play action situation to see the field better, give the offensive line a ability to kind of catch up. But I think it'll be the wrong thing to do to put the ball in CJ Stroud's hands and just let him go figure that out.
No, that take was I agree with that take 100%. When you have David Montgomery now, that takes a lot of pressure off CJ Stroud, where now you can give David Montgomery the ball, and then that gives the other defenses like reaction time, where now you can do the play action, and you have Tank Dell, and then you have their main wide receiver,
Nico Collins.
Collins, yeah. So at the end of the day, and they brought back the tight end. So Schultz. So what I'm saying is basically your take is 100% correct. Now they can get the running game going with David Montgomery, then they can get the pass game going, and the defense is there. So, who do you have winning the division?
If what I said was what I said, I don't see a situation. If the Texans can run the ball, they're winning this division. I'll repeat it. If just as simple as that, if the Houston Texans can run the ball top 10, top 10, top,
by
top
himself.
10, top 10, top 12 in the NFL. This is good.
Trust
You know what
David
it is.
Montgomery by himself without now they broke up Sonic and Knuckles. So do you trust him by himself?
Well, he's not by himself. He also has Woody Marks, the rookie.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, but he's not Jameer Gibbs.
No, he's not Jahmyr Gibbs, but David Montgomery? Listen, they have two running backs that they can interchange. They need to lean on them, and allow. Like, so I don't even know. Like, we don't even. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if Tank Dell can play football at the same level anymore.
Why
Like, his kneecap detached from where it was supposed to be.
They
I
need to
don't
monitor.
know what that means.
That was one of my things on the checklist. They need to monitor his health.
Yeah.
So I
we'll see. But like, I don't see. What about you? Who do you think wins the division?
well, we both agreed with the Panthers. So I agree with you. If they can get the running game going, they have the defense, they have the quarterback, they have the coach, they have everything in rights to win that division. But it's between Jacksonville and Houston. I think whoever's the best quarterback in that division wins that division.
Right. I just have when I look at roster
wise,
like take quarterback out of it.
Yeah.
The Houston Texans, I trust their roster more than any other roster in the AFC South.
I'm gonna go on a limb and go and say, it really. I'm gonna put what's it called to the side because I don't. The Tennessee Titans. I think they're in the basement, right? So
yes, we can agree here.
So it depends what happens with the quarterback position in Indy because they have a lot of things going on. They have a defense, they have a running game, they have receivers. Same with Jacksonville and same with I think it comes down to quarterbacks at the end of the day. So if I had to pick right now, I think I'm with you. We'll go with the Panthers and we'll go with the Panthers and we'll go with the Texans as of right now. Yeah.
See, man, once you get the information, man, you kind of see the light. You know what I mean? Once you get the information. But that's here nor there, man. I think we pretty much covered up and wrapped up everything we needed to do with the NFC South and AFC South. We answered the questions if they got it right or did they not get it right enough. We're a little different on them Texans. I mean, on the Titans. We might have to talk about that off camera some more. You can catch the full episodes on Instagram and catch the full episodes on Spotify and YouTube. And you catch the reels on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Listen, we all over the place. Mike, you came through, you did your thing. You answered the questions that I needed the people to know about the NFC South and AFC South. Do you got any more words before we part?
Because I don't know football?
Well, that's what I was going to let you know, unfortunately. So you beat me to the punch. But unfortunately, cuz you don't know football. Listen, y'all, I'm your boy Reek. Like Martin said, I'm going to see you when I see you. Peace.